In every single video, someone always asks, what are those tube lights you're using in the background? And I have looked far and wide because I love these things just like you guys do. I've looked far and wide to find budget-friendly, affordable versions, and I now own 6 different kinds. So I'm gonna do a quick breakdown on all 6 of them. If you guys wanna pick up any of these, links will be down in the description below. Please use them as it really helps this channel a lot. Let's get honest. We'll start with the most affordable and work our way up. And I'm not gonna turn the lights on here anymore in this headshot because the lighting is optimized for my face. If I turn these on, it's gonna blow up the whole image. I promise I'll use a lot of B-roll though. The Hey lights are the simplest and cheapest lights on this list. Hey is a subsidiary of Herman Miller, and these come in 3 different variants, a 1.5 foot, a 4 foot, and a 5 foot, which is the one I have here. And unlike most of the lights on this list that have this giant logo or black piece of plastic covering most of the light, these lights emanate light at almost 360 degrees, which makes it look absolutely stunning. These lights do not have a built-in battery, so you have to plug them into a wall, but that means the lights are super light, and it also comes with wall mounting hardware in case you want to stick it on a wall somewhere. Not having a built-in battery can seem like an inconvenience, but if you're using these as background lights or accent lights, having a plug is really nice because it means you can use them with smart home devices and you can say a command and have all your lights, including these, turn on at the same time. You can't do that with any of the wireless lights on this list. Also, because it plugs into a wall, these lights are very bright. They're not battery dependent. But 2 major drawbacks about these lights. One is that they are single color only. So once you pick a color, that's the color you get and you can't change it. The 2 colors that I chose are the yellow and the glacier blue. The other drawback is that you cannot dim these lights. So if you're sitting close to them, they can blind you a little bit. Really quickly, I made this video in response to a lot of your questions and comments, and that's the approach I like to take to my videos here at Ahnestly. So if you like that approach, please like and subscribe and leave any comment you want down below because that really helps the algorithm push this video and push this channel out to the internet realm. I'd really appreciate it. Next up are these no-name tube lights from Aliexpress. These come in at $77 a pop and they seem like the best bang for buck for what you get, except you cannot buy these individually. You need to buy them in a minimum order quantity of 5, and they can be a little bit of a headache to use. These lights are 4 feet long and they come with a built-in battery so you can use it wirelessly and you can charge them via micro USB. Just like the Hey lights, these lights are super light and they emit light almost at 360 degrees. However, they don't come with any wall mounting hardware, but you can buy a floor stand for them, but I highly recommend you don't because I bought one for every single light and not a single one of them kept the light straight. They're just terrible. Don't buy those. Unlike the Hey lights, these lights do have RGB and you can select 12 different colors and they have a whole bunch of RGB effects similar to what you get on an LED light strip. And unlike the Hey lights again, you can dim these lights. It's not all rainbows and butterflies though, because of all the lights on this list, these are the least bright and the least saturated. On this video here, you guys can see it in the background and I have those lights set to about 70% brightness and look how dim and washed out they look. Also, because these lights are super light, the battery isn't really robust, so you're gonna get pretty crappy battery life. At about 50% brightness, I only got about 2 hours of use. And if you use the remote to turn these things off, the battery does not stop draining. So I had the rude awakening where I turned these off with the remote thinking everything was fine. I came back to it and all of them were just pretty much running on fumes. You can use them with the power cable plugged in, but then you lose every benefit of wired lights and every benefit of wireless lights because obviously they won't be wireless anymore, and because the power cable has no influence on the power state of the light, which means if you turn on the power cable using your voice or smart home device, the lights aren't gonna turn on, right? That's done by a physical button on the light. The quality control on these lights can also be a little bit iffy. If you guys look here, there's this orange port that covers the micro USB charging port, and it's such an obnoxious contrast to the white color. You would hope that it would be on the same side where the light doesn't shine, but instead they opted to put it right in the middle of the light. That's not the case for every single light. For example, this one, the orange thing is much closer to where the light doesn't shine. So yeah, it's just kind of weird. Also, when I got my lights, I try to use the remote to control them, but when I hit yellow, some of the lights would turn green, some turn blue, and it took multiple emails back and forth to get these lights resynced. The instructions that come with it are pretty awful. Next up is another light from Aliexpress. This is the standing tube light, the only light in this list that stands because it comes, well, on a stand. The one I have here is gonna look a little bit different from the one that I linked down below because I bought this years ago, and I think since then they realized that people don't want their lights to do the Michael Jackson like mine can do here, because this light really looks the best when it's standing straight, and having to figure out where straight is, for example, I'm looking at my camera right now to figure that out, can be a real pain because it can go in every single direction, not just left and right. Now, these are by far the skinniest lights of all of these lights, and this looks super duper sleek, super duper modern. Now, unlike the previous two lights, there is a blocker at about 50% of the light, So this is gonna be much more directional. And here's the thing, guys, Aliexpress sells a ton of different variants of this light, but the one I highly recommend, I'm gonna link down below. It costs about $120, and the reason why I link that one is because it comes with the best price to performance ratio. You're gonna find some lights that are more expensive for no reason, and some lights that are cheaper because they don't come with various features. And here are the two major features that this has that I think you're gonna need. And the two is that it's dimmable, because this thing can get very, very bright, and you can control the color temperature. It's not RGB, but you can do from like a nice warm white all the way up to a super cool bright white. And you want that because if you have this much directional light kind of bouncing in your face late at night, it can almost make you feel nauseous. And so because of that, you're gonna want both dimmability and color light temperature control. Unfortunately, your FPS will not increase because these lights are not RGB. However, these lights can come in both a white frame as well as a black frame. The rest of the lights on this list were designed for photographers and videographers, so keep in mind you might be paying a premium for features you don't actually need. So first up is from a brand called Luxceo, and these guys make a ton of different stick lights. The one I have here is called the P7 RGB, not to be mistaken with the P7 RGB Pro, which is $10 more and basically allows you to connect via Bluetooth to your phone, so you can use the app to control it instead of just the remote. Now, from what I read online, the app is not great, so you might want to save yourself $10 and go with this version instead. You can see that this light is the shortest by far on this list, coming in at 15.7 inches, but it costs $80, and that's because it is jam-packed with features. For example, these lights are waterproof, so you can fully submerge it in water while the light is on, and you're totally fine. In addition, it's got a built-in battery, so they can work wirelessly, and the battery is really robust, so this thing lasts forever. I've had this for like 2 years, and I maybe charged it only once, using it on a few video projects. And in addition to that, the lights get incredibly, uncomfortably bright. Like, they are super duper bright. It charges using micro USB, but you're also gonna see a USB-A port, and that is not so that you can charge this device, but rather so you can reverse charge other devices. So if you have a phone and you've got a USB-A to lightning whatever cable is called now, you can plug it in and it will charge your phone, which is really neat. About 50% of this light is blocked off by logo, so it's a much more directional light. And it's an RGB light, but you don't get fine-tuned over the colors. You really only get about 9 colors. You get a warm white, a bright cool white, and then 7 different colors. Now, because this is a video-centric light, it does have effects, but not like LED strip lights where they wobble and go crazy in disco lighting. Instead, it's got very video-centered focused lighting effects such as lightning or police car strobes and things like that. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. Luxceo does sell a 4-foot version of this exact light called the P120 RGB Pro, and that is $185 when it's not on sale. The next lights are the Quasar Science lights, and you've seen these in most of my videos, and it's the one right back there. Now, the one I have there has been discontinued for quite some time now. They updated it, and now it's called the Crossfade X, and it's got some really solid upgrades. The Crossfade X comes in a 2-foot version at $150, a 4-foot version at $200, and then an 8-foot version at $400. These lights aren't RGB, but you can control the color temperature from a super warm 2000 Kelvin all the way up to a super cool 6000 Kelvin, and you can dim them, but it's a hassle because you have to buy an external or a third-party dimmer, which is not really expensive, but it makes the cable management a little bit annoying because the Quasar Science lights have a power plug that has 3 plugs with the ground, but most of these dimmer switches don't have a ground plug. So you have to buy now a 3-prong converter into a 2-prong, and then put that and then connect the dimmable switch, and now you've got this giant wart in the middle of cables. So it can be frustrating. On the new Crossfade X, they've upgraded the power cable, which is a really big improvement because the one that came on mine falls out really easily, and the power cable is extremely, like, laughably short. Again, you're gonna see a big plastic sheath going down about 50% of the light, making this a much more directional light. And finally, we have the most sophisticated and most expensive light on this list, the Nanlite Pavotube 30C. You're gonna see these lights on big YouTubers such as Optimum Tech, and it's got the price to match. This is the 4-foot model coming in at $329. These lights are incredibly heavy because they have a built-in battery, which means you can use it wirelessly, and these get extremely bright, and if you crank it up to 100%, you can get 2 hours out of these. That's absolutely insane. Unfortunately though, these use a proprietary cable to charge instead of using something like micro USB or even USB-C. Again, you're gonna see this giant black bar in the back that's gonna make this much more of a directional light, and it also has the largest bezels of all the lights on this list, which can make them an eyesore if you have them, for example, hanging on the wall. By the way, if you wanna hang them on the wall, make sure you have some serious mounting because, again, this is very heavy. But unlike the other lights that just have, you know, a random black bar for black bar's sake. This actually has a built-in screen and a bunch of buttons, and you can use those buttons and the screen and the fine-tune controls on the side to fine-tune everything about this light. You see, you can control the color temperature, I believe, all the way from, 2700 Kelvin all the way up to like 6500 Kelvin. And in addition, instead of just clicking a color on a remote for a color like on all the other lights, you can use HSI, which if you don't know what that is, it's like a color wheel. You can change the degree to get very fine-tuned color control, and you can match it with other lights. So it's just got a ton of fine-tuned features. You can also adjust the brightness and saturation of light as well. So yeah, a ton of control over your lighting, and it's got some other video-centric features as well that you might be able to find useful if you're super baller. Like if you got a whole bunch of these hung around, you can actually connect these together so you have one master version, so that if you control anything on the master light, all the other lights will also get adjusted as well. I hope this list was helpful. If you want to pick up anything, again, links will be down in the description below. Please use them. It really helps this channel. Like, subscribe, comment down below for the algorithms purposes. And if you have any questions, I do my best to answer all of them, so leave it down below as well. Until next time, guys, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.